Miss Sweet Caroline Dubois to the stage.
Hello. Thank you for having me on. How you doing?
Yo, Sweet Caroline, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yo, listen. Yo, you really one of my favorite fighters in the game right now. Like, I think what you're bringing to the table is like, it feels special. It feels like something special. When did you know or start to feel like you got that special thing about you?
I feel like there's some people who just go to boxing really easy. And, there's a saying like Dr. Water. And I feel like I had that experience when I walked into the gym when I was 9 years old. I realized then that this is something that I wanted to do. And from 9, like I was locked in. I was committed fully to the game. And it was only a progression as I got older and older. And as I got more experience, I started to fall in love with it even more and, just gain more and more experience and love for it.
Okay, well let's start there, right? Because we talking 9 years old. I read a story that said when you first started boxing, you went to this place. We said it was like ABC
Repton. That's right, Repton Amateur Boxing Club.
To be a guy named Colin because they wouldn't let women box. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, back in the day, and I'm certain many people know that. I mean, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in England, women's boxing wasn't really a big deal. It wasn't really a big thing, and it wasn't until recently that it started to, get the recognition that I guess it deserves. And at the time, amateur boxing for women wasn't a thing. So when we went to the amateur boxing club, I had to say that I was a boy just to get in, and they would not allow me into the gym. The coach was very old school and very like old fashioned, and he had no place for it. He didn't believe in it. He didn't see no purpose in it. And so for me to start, I had to say that I was a guy, and Colin was just the name that just came up. It was pretty funny actually. On the way to the
why you pick Colin out of all names? Why'd you pick Colin?
It was just crazy. I don't know. It just came into my head, and I had no like the guy was on me. He asked me. There was this guy. He came up to me and he was like, "What's your name?" And I said Caroline, but I said it so quietly he couldn't hear me. And he asked me again, and I'm looking around, and there's only guys in the gym, literally not even mums or anything. And so I was like, oh, I was on the spot. I had no answers. So I just said Colin. It just came out.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty. Hold up. So at what point did they realize you are a woman? Like, is it just you in there starting to spar guys? So now you're Colin for the next however long. You're sparring guys. When did they start to realize, like, oh, this is a girl?
Well, it was kind of an interesting one because they obviously got me a fight, and to get a fight you have to get your medical done, and obviously when you get your medical done, a doctor must come in, check you over, check everything is okay. And when they had got me this fight and the doctor was arranged to come in, I guess my dad realized that this is going to be a little bit of a problem. Yeah. So we kind of left before they found out. But obviously, I'm in the circle of amateur boxing. I'm winning all the tournaments, winning all the nationals. They started to see my name pop up, and it's not popping up under Colin, it's popping up under Caroline Dubois. So they started to realize what was going on, and it just worked out that way.
They're like, yo, Colin ain't getting no wins. What's going on?
No, for sure. What happened to Colin?
Yeah, right. Okay. Now you've been in training camp. You got a fight coming up April 5th against Terry Harper. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited. This is a unification bout right here. Tell me about it, because I feel like I've seen you calling out Terry Harper for a while. Like I've seen you say, like, I feel like she ain't want to take the offer before. Now we're finally here. Like, did you feel like this fight was going to happen eventually, or did you have doubts?
I didn't have doubts. I felt that when she went to MVP, I honestly felt that she went there to try and run away from the fight. I felt that she tried to price herself out of the fight. When I was with Sky and Boxer, we offered her the fight like last year for a lot of money, and she turned it down. So that was a red flag instantly. And then when she went to MVP, I was like, oh, she's gone. She's trying to price herself out. And I knew that MVP they're not going to want me to go over their fight, beat their champion, and go straight back to Sky. So I was like, maybe she's gone to avoid the fight. But when I ended up having a meeting with Nikisa, when I ended up having a meeting with the team, behind the MVP, and I spoke to them about my reservations and what I wanted out of the deal. They were very open and very confident in that fight. They said, "Yeah, we can make this fight happen." So one of my big points of signing with them was that to make the fight, and they were very, very confident that it would be possible. So it just worked out perfectly. You know, I'm signed with MVP now, and we've made the fight happen. So there's, even if she has tried to run and she's tried to avoid it and price herself out in the biggest, the best way possible, it's kind of backfired because, you know, she's been forced into this situation and there's no getting out of it.
Yeah. Yo, salute Angel for the super chat. Says salute Naji, salute Caroline, the real lady quote in the building. Yeah,
thank you.
Salute Angel. Thank you for the super chat, bro. So now, like with this fight, I think you're training now in America, right? Like you're in America, in Vegas, from what I'm hearing, training for this one. Why did you have to be like, all right, we're not gonna train in the UK, like we coming stateside this time? Why'd you make that trip?
Well, I'm back in the UK now. I flew in yesterday. Okay. It was just a short stay, a short trip, just to experience some more. You know, I think boxing should be fun. It should be all about leveling up and gaining more experience. I think sometimes people try and pigeonhole themselves and they lock themselves into situations where there's no opportunity for growth, no opportunity for learning. And, you know, I knew the team out there in America for a short while, and I spoke to them and I spoke to my coach. I was very transparent, and he gave me the blessings to be able to go out there for a short while, get some good sparring in. You know, I've always wanted to experience the sparring in America, see what that's like. They bring a different style, a different level. And then obviously going in Las Vegas, you got so many great facilities on hand. You know, you have the Mount Charleston. I was running that on the weekend, and that was a nasty little run, and the altitude was kicking my ass. But you know, these are all experiences that help level up my game. And coming back to the UK, I'm really excited to feel the benefits of that. You know, it was only a short trip, and I really want to say a massive thank you to the team out there who welcomed me in, and Kay Karoma, and Bobby McCroy, like some other people, and they just really helped look out for me while I was out there. But you know, I'm back home now, back where the work is going to be put in, and finish camp strong with Shane McGuigan.
Okay, I like that. Now tell me this, sweet Caroline, I love your confidence. To me, that's one of the major factors about you as a fighter. Obviously, the skill set speaks for itself, but you could tell you got this aura, this confidence. You ain't scared to pop that shit, and we like that. I know when I interviewed Ben Whitaker, my brother Ben Whitaker, that's my dog. I interviewed Ben in December. And he told me, and he felt like, because, you know, he's pretty brash. He likes to talk shit, too. And he said he feels like the UK audience doesn't always like that. Like, you know, they kind of, you know, he said he feels like they kind of like ostracize him a little bit when he does that. Do you feel like that? Like, do you feel like when you're, you know, being outstanding and, you know, you showcasing your personality, do they gravitate to it or they don't like it?
I don't know. I think the culture is different. American culture versus British culture is very different. I guess I don't know. Americans take towards the brash, the confidence, the speaking into existence. If you feel you're going to win a fight and you feel you're going to win it into a certain fashion, when a fighter goes out and says, you know, I'm going to knock so-and-so out, or I'm going to go out there and dominate, you know, it's received very well in American boxing. They enjoy the entertainment side of boxing. Whereas in the UK, I guess it's a little more smaller. It's a little bit more homey feeling, and people try to connect with the fighters a lot more. And when you got a fighter just going out saying, you know, I'm going to destroy someone, I'm going to walk through it, I guess it just triggers them a little bit. I don't know why it is like that. I mean, I can think of a few reasons, but it's just a cultural thing. But I guess one thing you have to be is be real. And I think UK people kind of we take words so seriously. If you say something in UK culture, they're gonna believe and they're gonna hold you to that. So whatever you say as a fighter, you have to believe, and that's what I've tried to do. You know, when I speak, I'm not just saying things just for the whole point of just entertainment, whole point of just selling a fight. I'm saying it because I truly in my heart believe it. And I think maybe they won't appreciate it at first, but I think they will start to respect the fact that I'm not lying. I'm not trying just to chat shit. I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking how I feel, and to respect someone who's got the guts to go out there and say how she feels about a certain fight and about a certain fighter. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I love that, man. Shout out my boy Rob T-Boot in the building. My boy Rob. Salute, Rob. So with that being said, you say what you feel. You've been saying you feel like Terry Harper's irrelevant. You've been talking that talk. When you say that, do you just mean like her skill set can't match yours, or what do you mean when you say things like that to her?
Yeah, when I say she's irrelevant, I think that I mean it in the sense that when I'm stepping every time I step into the ring, every time I step into a fight, into a preparation, yes, I look at the opponent, but then when I look at Terry, there is absolutely nothing that she does that I feel threatened by, nothing that I feel that she's got to bring to this fight that is going to cause me too much trouble. I mean, obviously, we're going to see, but when I look at her and what she brings and and her stylistics and how she fights and how she carries herself, there's nothing that I see that threatens me, nothing that I see that makes me think, okay, this is going to be tough. So when I'm looking at her and when I'm preparing for this fight, I'm preparing to be the best me. I'm not looking at her. I'm not preparing to fight Terry Harper. I'm preparing to be the best Karen. When I'm in the gym, when I'm running, when I'm sparring, when I'm working hard, I'm working hard to level up and top what Caroline Dubois topped last fight, last camp. And so I'm not focusing on her. I'm focusing on myself. It's irrelevant. That's what I mean when I say that. I could be fighting her. I could be fighting Beatrice Ferreira. I could be fighting whoever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to prepare and train the exact same way. I'm not focusing on her. I'm focusing on the belts and focusing on the performance. And I feel like the performance is great when Karen Dubois steps into the ring 100% and is great.
I love that. Salute, Angel for the super chat. He says, question, are Stephanie Han and Beatrice Ferreira two fighters you're looking to fight? I know you have the style to beat both. Your footwork is too smooth.
I appreciate that, Angel. Stephanie Han and Beatrice. Obviously, Stephanie's got the belt, and I know she's rematching Holly Holm, so I think she's going to be tied up for a little while. And Beatrice Ferreira right now hasn't got a belt, so I'm not really interested in Beatrice. I want to fight Han, but it's kind of hard for me, and I don't want to sound arrogant or rude, but I look at fighters and I think fighters that motivate me. Training is very hard. Making weight is getting hard every time. So I want to be motivated when I step into the ring and fighting Terry Harper, a former freeweight world champion, a very good name in boxing. That's a motivation, and she brings a belt, and that's great. I want to fight the Turk who knocked out Beatrice Ferreira, because people have been saying a lot of things about her, saying she's got power and she's bigger than me and she's stronger than me and she's gonna knock me out. So there's something that comes for that fight, and I'm really excited to test my skills against her. I believe I beat her. And
hold on, let me ask you about the Turk though. The Turk, because everybody right now, what she did to Beatrice, I didn't expect that. I lost money actually because I thought Beatrice was gonna be able to outbox her, and she put beats on. How do you feel? Like, do you think that girl is legit? Are you looking at her like, oh man, is she looking legit?
I think she's got power. I think a blind man can see the woman has got power, but I don't think she's got anything else but that. I don't think she's got skill. I don't think she's got experience, and I don't think she's got heart either. I seen her up close and personal come over to spar, and I was very surprised. She came and sparred Alycia Scotty, and I just felt like she's someone who's a bit of a bully, a lot like Beatrice actually. She's a bit of a bully. She's winning the fight, and she feels like she can overpower you. She gets confidence off of that. She gets, invigorated off of that. But when Ellie was making a miss and just making her look silly at moments, she just fell apart and she started to look for ways out of there. She was looking out the ring. She didn't want to be there. And it was the weirdest thing, because this was before the Beatrice Ferreira fight. So I'm thinking Beatrice is just gonna outbox her for the first 3 rounds, make her miss, make her pay, make her miss, make her pay, make her lose confidence, make her lose, her spirit, and then probably stop her late, because the way Alycia Scotty had this girl looking was just crazy. Like, we were just in shock. Everyone in the gym was just in shock, complete and utter shock. And Ellie's not known for being a puncher, but she was hitting this girl with everything, and Ellie's not a puncher, and she was making her want to get out of the ring. She was like looking everywhere. She didn't want to be there. And so when I seen the fight, I thought, Beatrice is gonna just walk through this girl. And then obviously the fight happened, and it was just a weird show, and it was like watching some type of Twilight Zone or something. It was just so bizarre. Beatrice went straight at her in the first round, didn't move anything. I was like, whoa, what is going on here? So I think Beatrice underestimated her power, got caught, and she just couldn't recover. So I think how to beat Tohan is pretty obvious, but obviously it is talking it and actually doing it. That's one thing. She's clearly got power, but what I saw up close and personal, I just don't think she has anything else.
Okay, I like that. Well, listen, there's one fight that I know motivates you. Everybody on social media been talking about it. You versus Alycia Baumgarder. Like, that's the one. And I've said it. She blocked me. I said, I think Caroline Dubois is going to beat Alycia Baumgarder.
I appreciate that. No, 100%. 100%. That's the plan, Like I said, I was out in America for a short while, and in the time I got some great rounds in with some really good fighters, and when I went over there, they were all saying, "Oh, you and AB is gonna be a real competitive fight. I'm so excited." Da 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 da. When I finished camp over there, they were like, "You are gonna stop this girl. You are going to punch the living daylights out of her." And people, when they see me up close and personal, they know the deal. They know what's up. And when I look at AB, I don't see anything. The same way I don't see anything with Terry, I don't see anything that's gonna bother me with AB. She's got skills, she's got power, and she's got decent speed, but everything she does good, I do better. And I'm not saying that to be any type of way. Like, everything that she does good, I just do it better. And I don't see anything that's gonna bother me.
Well, hold on, Caroline, but this is a former undisputed champion. You saying you don't see nothing in the undisputed champion? You look at it and you just like, whatever?
Not at all. I don't really care about what people's achievements. I'm a massive believer in respect is earned, never given. And for me, she hasn't earned my respect. When I step in the ring with somebody, I never give them any overdue respect. That's for the audience. That's for you to give them, to value the fight. But it's not my job as the fighter, as the professional fighter, stepping in the ring, trying to tear somebody's head off to give them respect or give them any type of adulation. She's got to earn that. And she hasn't earned it to me. So when we step in the ring, I'll see if she can earn that. She can earn my respect and make me eat my words. But right now, I'm not seeing it.
Well, I mean, you obviously signed the MVP. She's on MVP. I was at the press conference thing the other day. I was hoping you was going to be there. I was going to say,
yeah.
But, when you talk to like Jake and Nikisa, like, yo, I want this fight. Like, this is a fight that I want. What do they tell you?
I speak to Nikisa mainly, and it's a weird one. I imagine that she's telling them, because I can sense that she's telling them she doesn't want the fight. But I feel like Jake and Nikisa see what that fight is for women's boxing. And even if she's trying to squirm her way out of it, I know they're going to be pushing it. And I feel like it's interesting that we're both fighting each other's mutuals. I'm fighting Terry Harper and she's fighting Bo. So yeah, the Korean, I don't know how to pronounce her full name, but it's like Bo or something. And I just know that there was a reason for that. There was a reason, and that they're trying to get that fight and build it up. And it's interesting that she says, I'm a puppy, I'm not on her level at all. She's the big dog. What are you doing messing with the puppy scraps? I already beat Bo, and if you watch the fight, you're gonna see I beat her 8 rounds to 2. That's given it being generous. 8 rounds to 2. So you're messing with the puppy scraps. I chewed the bones up, and you go into my bowl and pick them up. So that says everything. That says absolutely everything.
But why do you feel like that she's trying to avoid the fight based on talking to them?
She knows what would happen in that fight. She 100% knows. And I know that people would be like, Alycia's a former world champion. She's fought Michaela Mayer. She's beaten Michaela Mayer. She shouldn't be afraid of Caroline. And by some meanings, they're right. But I think Alycia knows. She knows she's a gimmick. She knows she's a fluke. And she knows that the loss is coming. It's coming. And I think she's scared of that. She's building her brand off of being this, this champion fighter, this woman who's serving looks and hooks and this, that, and the other. But when you lose and when you get beat up, and because that's what's going to happen, it's not going to be just an outboxing. It's not going to be a 10-point win. It's going to be a knockout. It's going to be brutal. Her face is going to be messed up. And how do you come back from that? And I don't think she can come back from that. I think her ego has gotten too big, and the image she's pushing of herself is going too huge that she won't be able to come back from it. So she's trying to avoid that. She's running from it. But it's okay. I believe I'm coming. And there will be no escape. I'm coming.
Yo, I'm scared for her the way you talking. Yo, gonna lie. All right, hold up. I want to ask you this because obviously you've looked up to Clarissa Shields, right? Like you always show her love, she shows you love. We can kind of see the parallels as fans, right? Like between y'all. I don't want to say necessarily stylistically, but the way y'all come up, the way y'all both great skills, not afraid to talk it how you talk it. One of the things that I saw you say in the interview was that when you were, I guess, coming up, you patterned yourself after Clarissa in the sense that like you saw her, she got finished training and her hair was crazy, and you was like, I was in the gym, my hair was looking crazy. And I was
Yeah.
a lot of black women and a lot of black girls. And can you talk about that? Because I asked Clarissa that too, where like the balance between being a woman and being a fighter and just gritty, and then like now, trying to be pretty and putting on, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that a hard balance for you trying to hold both of those worlds?
No, for sure. It's one that, it's duality, it's being yourself, it's being natural. I think black women kind of have it quite hard because we kind of get, when we're muscular, we get over masculinized quite a lot. You see it in media, you see it with a lot of athletes, female athletes. We always get accused of looking like men, always get accused of, being overly muscular and stuff like that. And going into the gym, I was, someone believed I was a boy, like a lot of women can relate to that, and a lot of black women who are athletes can relate to that, and it's not nice. So I relate to her story a lot more than I would relate to somebody else's story. I relate to her journey, and I know what it's like. I know exactly what it's like, because at the end of the day, forget boxing, I'm a woman, and I'm very proud and happy to be a woman. I was the type of girl growing up who used to love Disney movies, If I could, I would walk around in a Disney dress like 24/7, 360.
What was your favorite?
Anastasia. I don't know if you know that one, but Anastasia was my film. Do you know this one? Yeah, listen, Anastasia was my film. I love that one. And Dimitri.
Oh, I seen this one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, listen, Dimitri was my first crush, and Anastasia. I wanted to be Anastasia. I wanted to be a princess. So, forget boxing. At the end of the day, I'm a woman and I'm a girl. So I'm very happy and proud to be that. And then when you get into boxing and you start to develop as an athlete, and you start to get bigger and stronger, and you start to develop like an athlete would, it's quite tough when you're being constantly criticized and being told you look like a man just because you're, I think, black and muscular. And I think it's really unfair to a lot of young black athletes that they get this stereotype and this slogan thrown on them. And you see other athletes who are muscular and or white or lighter skin, they don't get that. They don't get that attack. So when I see someone like Clarissa, and when I see someone else like Tiara Brown and other female fighters, I can identify with their story a lot more. And it's important. It's so important to be that, to have a role model. It's so important to be and see someone that looks like you. It's so much more easy. It makes it a lot more easier.
I love that you framing it like that. I actually heard that you want to eventually down the line, open up a boutique where you're doing like hair and makeup. Is that still the case?
100%. Listen, I love being a woman. I love helping other women. A lot of black women struggle with, hair issues. They struggle with self, love and the way they look. And I would love to be able to help people with that. There's no better environment, I feel, than going into a hairdresser's on the weekend. I love the environment. I love the vibe. I love the energy. I love the music. I love the community. I love the feeling of just getting pampered and looking good, and that community. I want to build on that. So it's definitely something I'm very, very passionate about and interested in doing when I retire.
All right, this is a personal question. Do you date Sweet Caroline? Are you like, what I'm saying? Because it's hard to see now. Clarissa Shields got papoose, so she outside with papoose all the time. But I'm saying for you, like, as a boxer that's dedicated, is that something that's important to you? Are you like, I got a man over here and, marriage and kids, are those things important to you also?
Oh, very important. I would love to get married. I envision myself having children. I would love to get married. I'd love to have a husband and get a ring and do the whole wedding situation and just, have that. But right now, I'm not dating, but I'm just focusing on boxing. I'm focusing on my career. And it's a tough one because it's something that a lot of athletes have to deal with, and a lot of female athletes have to deal with, that parallel of whether you give up on your personal dreams and focus on your career, or vice versa. But I'm focusing on my career right now. Obviously, I'm open, so no sliding in the DMs, because I would never date anyone who slides into the DMs.
Talk about they go slide in your DMs. You could have never said that.
I'm not dating anyone who is a fan. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll be the fat. See, they in the chat going crazy.
No, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm from the UK. I don't do long distance. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. No, but so tell me, like, what? Because you're ascending up the ladder, right? Like, it's clear everyone sees the talent. They see what you're doing. They see what you're building. What are the goals? Is it like, yo, I want to be undisputed champ? Is it like multiple weight classes? Like, when you're thinking of goals that you want to get accomplished, or is it just making the bag? I just want to make a couple million. Jake, throw me a couple $1 million.
I mean, all three would be nice. I personally don't know if I will be undisputed, just because I think I'm too desperate to be involved in big fights. I want to be involved in big fights. When I started boxing, I was never someone who was obsessed over the belts. I remember, it's quite funny. I was in the gym and Alycia Baumgarder comes up to me and she's like, "What's your favorite belt?" And I was so confused. Like, I didn't even know it mattered. Like, I don't really care about the belts. I've never really cared about the belts, not in a disrespectful way. I've obviously known that to be a world champion is the best thing. It's the achievement, it's the pinnacle. But I care about the fights. When I watched Sugar Ray Leonard fight Hagler, I didn't know what belt was on the line. I was just excited to watch a great fight. When I watched, Mike Tyson fight, when I watched Floyd Mayweather fight, when I watched all these great fights, I never cared about what the belts were on the line. I cared about the fight. So for me, it's always going to be about chasing the biggest fights as possible. And I will move up in weight. I see myself being a multi-weight world champion. I see myself testing myself and going up, and being involved in the biggest fights against the scariest opponents I can possibly find.
Yeah, I like that. We got to get that Alycia. What's her name? The Turk. We got to get that Turk one. That one right
there. For sure.
All right, so let me ask you this. It's another personal question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But I was watching, in doing my research, I watched the Seconds Out interview. Great interview. The way you opened up, it was amazing. Obviously, you spoke about the rifts with your family and those things, but I wanted to know, as you're coming up, right? Like, as you're growing, as you're ascending, do you feel like your family, like your dad and your brother, whoever else, like, do they see these things, you know what I mean? And feel like, I feel like it's hard to, have rifts when you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Do you feel like there's a point that you're just growing, that eventually things will, a conversation will be had?
With my dad, probably not. It's interesting because, he's someone who, I guess a lot of people see him with Daniel and they see the relationship they have that appears to be quite close and it seems quite, protective or whatever. But with me, you have to realize that someone is not being around this person is not a good thing. It's a negative. Sometimes you're around people and it's like being around poison. And there's a quote that I read and it says, if you're in the desert, you're dying of thirst. That doesn't mean you should drink poison. And I know it sounds quite harsh that I'm describing my own father, and it's sad that I have to do this and describe him as a poison. But unfortunately, that's the situation. He's not a very good person, and I would definitely go into detail on this when I'm ready, because it's something that I feel like I have to tell for my own sanity more than anything. But right now, all I can say is that I remember the last message I ever sent him, and it was me saying I never want to speak to you again. And that sounds quite harsh and it sounds quite sad, but it's just the situation. And I have to associate and realize that to be around someone is more dangerous. It's dangerous than it is to just separate yourself. And with my brother Daniel, I hope that we can definitely recollect and we can connect and understand and it's like I say, it's an unfortunate one because my dad has forced us to not speak it to each other. And when I moved out and I said, I had to break off that connection, he tried to completely cut it off with the rest of my family as well. With my younger brother Solomon, I haven't seen him since the day I left. I haven't seen Daniel since the day I left, and my sister, I haven't been able to see them. So I hope that things happen and God works his magic and we can reconnect. But I don't know. It's going to be quite sticky.
I hope so too, because at the end of the day, that's family, right? And I ain't trying to get in your business and pride, but what I'm just saying is I know that has to be a tough thing for you, right? Because when when you're doing all of this, and like you said, it's hard to wake up and train and do these things. And sometimes, family is what kind of gets you through certain situations. So especially with your brother, because I've seen pictures from back in the day where y'all was like, he next to you and all of that kind of stuff. So I hope that's able to be resolved, at least with Daniel.
No, of course, I've got 7 brothers and sisters. I come from a big family. I'm the middle child of seven children. So I come from a big family, and having a big family has its pros and cons. But one of the most important things is that when it's right and a family is perfect and working in good organization, I don't know if there's anything that can come between that and break that apart. A tight family is inseparable. And to have a big family of brothers and sisters, like it's kind of like walking with an army. You have your army of flesh and blood, the people that are gonna be there for you. Usually for no other reason except unless you say so. Definitely, I want to try and reconnect, but that's gonna have to take its time. I think it's gonna have to take its time.
Is it hard being the middle child growing up? I'm the oldest, so I don't ever feel like that. But they always say the middle child syndrome. Did you feel
definitely? You definitely feel like you're not. You lose your sense of purpose and a big family. My dad was very focused on boxing, on the boys. He was very focused on that. So I definitely grew up with a sense of like I had to prove myself. I had that chip on my shoulder, I guess, and I've always felt like I had to prove myself. And as the middle child, I think I carry that with me through life, how I act, how I move, and how I fight, and my energy when I come into a fight. I feel like I have to prove myself every time I step into the ring.
That makes sense. All right, let me switch gears. Can you tell me, how do you feel about the new deal? They announced the new deal with MVPW, right? ESPN, a lot of the fights. I don't know how is that going to work the same for you, because I know they got a Sky Sports deal also, but how do you feel about that? Are you going to be a part of that as well?
Yeah, I'm sure. I love to fight over in the States. I fought over in on the Jake Paul undercard. So I've been in America and I fought in America and I loved it. I want to fight out there again. And obviously when I fight out there again, I'm going to get the opportunity to be fighting live on ESPN Plus. So that's a benefit. MVP have always prided themselves in being game changers. When they first came into the scene, a lot of people were giving them criticism and saying, what are you doing? Only signing majority women, and what you're doing investing so much money in women. But they've proven themselves, and they've proven that they've got an innovative mindset, and they're making waves. ESPN has just dropped Top Rank, and yet they've re-signed MVP. So that says everything. They're doing the right thing. They're doing everything correctly, and the most important thing, from a selfish point of view, they're putting a lot of time and effort to women's boxing. So I'm very happy and proud to be a part of the team.
Okay. Last question, Carolyn. Do you have a little time? Do you have a couple more minutes? Is that?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, because I wanted to take a couple fan questions too, if that's cool with you. My last question. What was your first conversation with Jake Paul? Like when y'all met, obviously Nikisa's the guy doing the business, but when you met Jake, what was the first, what did y'all say? What did he say to you? What was the first conversation?
The first time I met him physically in person was when I went to America and fought on his undercard. So I guess it was quite strange, but he was really locked in. He was really, really focused, and I could sense that he was, really trying to focus himself on the fight. And you know what it's like to be around a fighter on fight week, and their mind is in a different place. They're looking at you, but they're not really looking at you. They're looking through you. And it was so interesting to see him have that. And I could tell he was serious about his fight. So we only shared a few words. I said hello. I said, you're doing really good things. I'm happy to be a part of the team. And, he was saying stuff like, happy to have you. Happy to have you over here fighting on my undercard. You know, just exchanging a lot of pleasantries. We didn't have a time to sit down and have a deep conversation. Like I say, it was fight week, and he was just, like I say, he was locked in. The dude was focused.
Damn. Okay. Well, listen, I just want to take a couple fan questions real quick. Let a couple people just come and speak to you. Listen, y'all know the rules. If you're showing love, we appreciate that. If you're a hater, I tolerate that. But if you disrespect my guests, I'm kicking you off. No disrespect at all allowed in my house. And don't be shooting your shot either. We ain't doing that. She don't want that. She don't want that. Let me drop the link in the chat real quick. I know a couple people just wanted to ask you a question. I only take a few of them before we get up out of here. But Sweet Caroline, thank you so much for pulling up on me. Like I said, you're one of my favorite fighters in the game, period. And I'm always on Twitter. I'll be on Twitter tweeting about you and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I want you to continue to do what you're doing. It's special what you're doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not that you need to know that, but I see it from the outside looking in. What you're building is something special. And I can't wait to see how high this thing goes. Like,
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, yo, I just dropped the link in the chat. I know a couple people said they want to ask a question. We only got a couple more minutes. Sweet Caroline is in the building. Hit that link real quick, man. Hit the link. All right, while they coming in, how you feeling like leading up to camp? Like, camp's been good? Like, how's everything?
Yeah, camp has been amazing. Training camp is always fun and it's always, hard. So it's been a combination of both. I had that break being in America, mixing things up, refreshing the systems, and we're all go now. I'm back in the gym tomorrow, so I'm excited to be back around familiar faces and back in the routine.
Did you spar anybody that we know?
No, not that you know. I was meant to spar Kenneth, actually. He was Kenny Sims. I was meant to spar him, but it never happened. It was kind of weird. Like, every day I'll come in and he was like, oh, he wants to spar. We're sparring. And it just didn't happen. So that was a bit of a shame. But, yeah, that would have been cool.
You know, you and the GWOAT got to do some work together. Y'all got to get some work in together.
No, for sure. She said something like that as well, but it would be a great experience for both of us, I think, to just get some rounds in, and, that would be cool, really cool.
All right, yo, I got DV Use on the stage. DV Use, what's popping?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Salute, Caroline, Naji, always my boy. Thank you. So I had 2 questions for you specifically. A lot of male fighters have been going against the boxing fee. I wanted to ask a female fighter, what did you feel? How did you feel about the boxing fee, like the belts, the fee for the belts?
I think the thing that we need to figure out is where the money is going and what's it going towards. I think that's where the big issue and confusion is coming from. Where is this money that we're spending and paying for? Where is it going and who is it going towards? I know the WBC say that it's to help support fighters, post retirement and if they're dealing with injuries. But every time we see a fighter who is injured, they always complain that they've been left alone. They haven't had any support. They haven't had any help. So it's interesting. And I think to clear things up, we just need to know where the money is going.
All right. That's different. I haven't heard like that. And then I heard you mention something about you want to move up. My original question was, would you want to go up to at least 140? Is that like your cap weight, or would you want to go past 140?
100%. I'll go past that. I want to go 147. I see myself hitting 147 for sure. Like I say, I'm only interested. I really would be chasing the biggest fights. After, if you ask me what is my direction, what direction would my next few fights be? It would be fight Terry Harper, fight the Turk, fight Alycia Baumgarder, then move up to 147 and fight the girls at 147.
Appreciate your time. Go ahead. Good luck in your next great fight. And Naj, salute my boy.
Yo, salute, bro.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right. Yo, why y'all keep dropping off? People coming on and dropping off, man. What's up with y'all? I'm gonna let her go. Y'all don't play them games, man. Yeah, that's a good lineup. What you just said, though, that's a great lineup. Well,
for sure.
All right, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, Caroline. Thank you again. You got my support at Cigar Talk. You are a future superstar in this game, and I look forward to talking to you again at the next level and doing an interview in person.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking forward to. See you in person and doing an interview with you as well. Thank you. Thank you for
All right,
having me.
for sure. All right,
Thank you
take
for
care. Have
having
a
me.
good one.